The city breathed, a giant never sleeping. Horns blared a chaotic morning song. Taxis, yellow blurs raced down avenues. People moved like a river fast. Each face held a story, a secret dream. This corner, Broadway and Astor, was a theater. The play was always on, no intermissions. Steam rose from a manhole cover, dancing in the cool air. The smell of roasted nuts mixed with exhaust fumes. Only New York had this scent, this energy. It pulled you in, dared you to survive. Sunlight fought past the tall buildings, skyscrapers like modern cathedrals reaching for hope. Down below, the crowd hurried, each person on a mission. The city didn't wait, you had to keep up. This corner was a crossroads of lives, destinies. People from everywhere, speaking 100 languages, all sharing this small patch of concrete for a moment. Then they scattered back into the city's vastness. But the corner remembered, holding echoes of footsteps, laughter, whispered promises. It was a living thing, a challenge, a dare. The city was a beast, and you had to learn to ride it or get left behind. The city was a challenge. It dared you to thrive. It was a living thing, a challenge, a dare. The city was a beast, and you had to learn to ride it or get left behind.
Maya stood near the edge, her camera an extension of her hand. She watched, waited for the right moment. The city offered so many, you just had to see them. She looked for the quiet stories, the loud ones too. Her worn leather camera bag held her tools. She preferred film, the grain, the texture. Digital was too easy, too clean. New York wasn't clean, it was beautifully messy. Her photography reflected that raw truth. She saw a woman laugh, head thrown back. Click. She saw a man scowl at his phone, alone in the crowd. Click. Each photo a tiny piece of the city's mosaic. She wasn't just taking pictures, she was collecting moments, preserving them, trying to understand the city, the people, herself. This city was her muse, her playground. It pushed her, inspired her. Every crack in the sidewalk, every reflection in a puddle, every face that passed held a potential masterpiece. She felt alive here, more alive than anywhere else. Her heart beat in time with the city's pulse, a rhythm of discovery. She saw a woman laugh, head thrown back. Click. She saw a man scowl at his phone, alone in the crowd. Click. Each photo a tiny piece of the city's mosaic. She wasn't just taking pictures, she was collecting moments, preserving them, trying to understand the city, the people, herself. This city was her muse, her playground. It pushed her, inspired her.
Across the way, Ty nodded his head, headphones covering his ears. The beat was heavy, his beat. Words flowed in his mind, rhymes formed. He mouthed them silently, his hands sketching the rhythm. This street corner was his practice room, his stage. The city's noise was his backing track, the rhythm of footsteps, distant sirens, chatter of strangers. His lyrics spoke of life, struggle, hope. The Bronx was in his voice, the whole city in his heart. He wasn't famous, not yet, but the dream burned bright. He wrote every day, practiced every chance he got. He felt the power in his words, the truth. He just needed the world to hear it. Until then, the streets were his audience, and they were a tough crowd but honest. He opened his eyes, took a deep breath. The city air full of grit, full of possibility. He started to rap aloud softly at first, then with more confidence. His voice cut through the morning hum, sharp, clear, telling his story one verse at a time. He wasn't just rapping, he was breathing. This was his oxygen, his reason. He felt the power in his words, the truth. He just needed the world to hear it. Until then, the streets were his audience, and they were a tough crowd, but honest. He opened his eyes, took a deep breath. The city air, full of grit, full of possibility. He started to rap aloud, softly at first, then with more confidence. His voice cut through the morning hum, sharp, clear, telling his story one verse at a time. He wasn't just rapping, he was breathing. This was his oxygen, his reason. He felt the power in his words, the truth.
A yellow cab pulled up to the curb. James sat behind the wheel, his face a map of long days. He switched off the meter, stretched his shoulders, watched the city through his windshield. He'd seen it all from this seat. The good, the bad, the unbelievably strange. New York never disappointed. He used to wear a suit, work on Wall Street, numbers, pressure, a different kind of jungle. He traded it all for this yellow cab, for a different kind of freedom, or maybe a different kind of cage. He wasn't sure sometimes, but he met more real people now, heard more real stories. That was worth something, more than the money perhaps. His cab was his office, his confessional, his sanctuary. People got in, they talked, or they sat in silence. He listened. He drove. He saw the city change, block by block, year by year. He saw himself change too. The city had a way of doing that. It stripped you down, showed you who you really were, if you let it. He had a notebook on the passenger seat, filled with poems, observations, thoughts he jotted down between fares, about the light on the Hudson, the sadness in a rich woman's eyes, about the hope in a young man's song. He was a driver, a poet, a survivor, just another New Yorker trying to make sense of it all.
I saw him. His energy was undeniable, raw, unfiltered. He wasn't performing for anyone. He was performing for himself, for the music. That kind of passion was rare. It was beautiful.
Her photographer's instinct kicked in. This was a moment, a story. She felt that familiar pull, the need to capture it.
I crossed the street slowly, not wanting to break his concentration. He was lost in his rhythm. His words painted pictures of struggle, of dreams, of the city. I felt a connection, an artist recognizing another artist. Different mediums, same fire. The same need to create, to express, to be heard.
She stood a few feet away, waiting for a pause in his flow. When he finally looked up, their eyes met, a moment of surprise, then curiosity. Maya smiled, a small, encouraging smile.
That was amazing! Your words, your energy, it's powerful!
She gestured with her camera.
Do you mind?
Ty blinked, pulled off his headphones. The city sounds rushed back in. He looked at Maya, at her camera.
Nah, I don't mind.
James watched them from his cab. The young rapper, the photographer. An interesting scene. New York always offered these little dramas, if you paid attention. He'd seen countless interactions, brief encounters, sparks of connection or conflict.
He heard snippets of Ty's rap. The kid had talent, real talent, and something to say.
He'd been about to pull away, look for his next fare, but something made him stay. Maybe it was the earnestness in Maya's eyes, or the raw hope in Ty's voice. It reminded him of himself a long time ago. Before Wall Street, before the cynicism tried to set in, he still fought it every day.
He's got a good flow, that young man, James called out. His voice was gravelly but kind.
Maya and Ty turned, surprised. They hadn't noticed him. James nodded.
The city needs more voices like that, honest ones. He looked at Ty. Don't ever lose that truth you're spitting. It's gold.
The three of them stood there, a photographer, a rapper, a cab driver. Strangers, brought together by the city's currents.
This city, huh? Maya said, looking around. It gives you so much and takes so much too.
She thought of her tiny apartment, her struggles to get noticed, but also the endless inspiration, the feeling of being part of something huge.
Yeah, it's a beast, Ty agreed. But it's our beast. You gotta learn to ride it or it'll eat you alive.
He dreamed of a record deal, of his music reaching millions, of buying his mum a house. Big dreams, New York-sized dreams. He knew the odds, but he had to try. What else was there? He looked at the skyscrapers, symbols of what could be.
James listened. He'd had those big dreams once. They look different now, smaller, quieter. It's a city of dreams, all right, he said. Some come true, some break, some just change.
He thought of his poems. Maybe one day he'd publish them. A small book, something to leave behind. His Wall Street dream had died. But a new, humbler one was growing.
I want to show the city's soul, Maya shared. The real New York, not just the postcards.
She wanted her photos in galleries, to tell stories that mattered. An idea sparked in Maya's mind. The light was perfect now, hitting Ty just right. James in the background, the yellow cab, the city street. It was all there.
Ty, she said, her voice urgent with inspiration. Rap for me right now like you were before. She raised her camera. James, can you stay there? You're part of this.
Ty looked at James, then back at Maya. He felt a surge of energy. This felt different, not just practice. This was for something, for someone. He took a deep breath, found his center. The beat dropped in his head. He started to rap, louder this time, more passion. His words flew, telling his story, his city's story. His eyes burned with intensity. James watched, a rare smile on his face. The kid was on fire, a natural performer. He saw the struggle, the hope, the raw talent. He felt a pang of something, not regret, more like respect, for the fire that still burned in the young. Maya moved quietly, framing the shot. Her finger hovered over the shutter, waiting for that exact moment. Click. The sound was small, almost lost in the city's noise, but it was powerful. It froze time. Ty, mid-flow, hand gesturing, eyes blazing. James, a knowing observer in his cab. The city, a vibrant, blurred backdrop. A perfect New York minute, captured, preserved. Maya lowered her camera. She knew she had it. A piece of truth, a moment of magic. A moment of silence hung between them, the echo of Ty's last word, the ghost of the camera's click. Then the city rushed back in, horns, sirens, the ever-present hum. Ty was breathing hard. A grin spread across his face. He felt exhilarated, seen.
That was dope, he said, looking at Maya, then at James.
Maya smiled. It was perfect, she said. Thank you both.
She felt the familiar thrill, the joy of capturing something true, something beautiful.
James nodded. Keep that fire, son, he said to Ty, then to Maya. And you keep showing us what you see.
He started his cab's engine, time to move on. But something had shifted for all of them. They exchanged names, a quick handshake, promises to connect. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. New York was like that, full of intense, brief encounters. But the impact remained. Ty felt a new confidence. Maya saw a new depth in her work. James felt a little lighter, a little more hopeful. The city had given them a gift, connection. As James pulled away, Ty looked at Maya.
You think that picture will be good? He asked.
Maya nodded. I know it will.